I am inside this beautiful, large, well-equipped garage, and this is the SEMA Garage Detroit, or SEMA Detroit Garage?
SEMA Garage Detroit.
And in front of the camera is Ben Kaminsky, who is the general manager of this facility. And Ben, why do I see a bunch of Chevrolet and GMC products behind me?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. So we're excited to have our first measuring session here in the SEMA Garage Detroit. So we opened last August, and this is our first measuring session. And we worked with General Motors to get 6 trucks here for our members to come and measure and look at and pour over to understand how they can develop aftermarket products for these vehicles.
Now, when you say members, do you mean aftermarket companies?
Yes, yes. So our SEMA members are aftermarket companies that develop all sorts of products for the automotive aftermarket.
Okay, and what you do for these customers of yours, you take incredibly accurate measurements so that they can more correctly build parts for these vehicles.
Yes, absolutely. We can do it for them. We have a 3D scanner that actually scans and is accurate down to 25 micron, which is about 1/4 of the width of a human hair. We can scan it for them, or they can come in and bring their own measurement equipment and do the measurements on the vehicles while they're in the garage here. And they also have access to our tech transfer program, which tech transfer is basically taking the nominal CAD data down from General Motors and actually putting it into our database so that our manufacturers, our members, can actually download it and use it to design their products from as well. So those are the ways that we get the data from the vehicles.
So I'm so glad you mentioned that, because is this something that the manufacturers promote? Are they happy to do this, or are you kind of doing it behind their back a little bit?
Yeah, great question. No, actually, so General Motors is in full support of that. These are the 6 vehicles that we got behind us. We're actually from General Motors.
Okay.
We actually have a General Motors rep in the garage right now talking to us and talking to the SEMA members as well, because they are excited. And in the end, it helps them sell vehicles, right? When you have a choice of aftermarket products and components that you can put on the vehicle, and they are able to be modified and encouraged to be modified by the manufacturer, that influences the initial vehicle purchase. So we kind of all win in that way.
Now I'm going to just shift my camera over this way just a little bit, because to your left, my right, I see the brand new GMC Canyon AT4X, and that specific one is an Edition 1. That is a highly modified, highly capable truck from the manufacturer directly. So what would the aftermarkets see in that truck and want to do to modify it?
Yeah, great question. So it is a very capable truck, as you mentioned, right out of the factory, right out of the box. But what we're seeing a lot of our members do is they still want different wheels and tires. They still want more aggressive wheels and tires, typically bigger wheels and tires is one of the big key ones. And especially the trend that we're seeing at SEMA in the market and at the SEMA show is the overlanding, right? Mm-hmm. So all the different tents and all the different things that they do to modify vehicles for overlanding and camping and those sorts of things are what we're seeing. Whether it's sand ladders or whether it's the tents on the top of the vehicle or what have you. It could be all those things for sure.
I see. So not necessarily being able to be more capable in the off-road driving segment itself, but having more capability to do more things while you're off-roading.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yep.
Yeah. But what about, over here in the background, that's a heavy-duty Sierra. Back there we have full-size trucks, and we have some Chevrolet trucks as well. Is it all kind of the same thing, or when you see a full-size truck or a heavy-duty truck, do you tend to see different trends for what the aftermarket wants to do?
There are different trends for different sizes of pickups, right? Especially the full size, like the heavy duty pickups that we have here behind us. A lot of those folks like to do towing. So the aftermarket provides potentially modifications that help them doing towing better or towing in a different manner or way, right? Whereas a lot of the full size, like the half-ton trucks, we're seeing a lot of trend toward more of the off-road and the overlanding space. Especially the medium-sized truck, because you can actually fit down trails that you can't necessarily with a half-ton pickup, right, in the woods and such. So those are very popular off-road trucks because they can fit in narrow spaces that some of the bigger trucks can't, right? So you're right. The different segments of the market do offer different opportunities for accessorizing and for modification.
Wow, well, that's really interesting. It's kind of funny to realize that there are companies out there like yours that helps the aftermarket companies build better products. And I'm really fascinated to see how the manufacturer supports it. So I really appreciate that. Now, I've actually driven an AT4X Edition 1, so I'd actually love to dig into that car just a little bit more. Ben, thank you so much.
Thank you, Robin. Great to have you.
All right, so I said I wanted to take a closer look at the AT4X, and that's exactly what I'm doing, but I'm doing it with a new person who is Nicole.
Yep.
And Nicole is with GMC directly. And Nicole, I'm awfully curious. Ben was telling me that GMC supports the SEMA Garage going through and doing the specific measurements for the aftermarket to be able to build parts for this car. Why would you support such a thing?
Yeah, so honestly, one of the things that we're trying to do is really understand demand, customer demand. So a lot of feedback we got, especially with the Canyon, was talking about being off-road, and that's something we wanted to make sure that would happen. And sometimes you see vehicles, and as a manufacturer, you want to give the best experience to your customers. So being able to partner with AEV, American Expedition Vehicles, that's something for us. We have our come-up winch. We're using things that are well-known, that are tested, and then for us too, as GM, things we feel very confident and secure in. One of the things that for us, this is a huge benefit for customers, is because it's coming straight from the factory. So things that normally you wouldn't be able to do or to put on your vehicle until aftermarket, you're getting from us. The other thing I would say is, again, these companies are tried and true for us as a manufacturer, but it's under warranty. And that's something that's really great, is that for us at GM, we feel confident enough to back that up. So I would say it's a huge advantage for sure.
But that's kind of what I'm curious about too, because you have the DSSV shock absorbers from Multimatic, you have the come-up winch, you have that really aggressive bar in front of the car, and there's a light bar built into that. You have a lot of capability from the manufacturer with a warranty. So what is the incentive to give aftermarket these detailed measurements to help them build things above and beyond what you guys provide from the manufacturer?
Yeah, I think definitely, first of all, there's a partnership there. So as we've worked with them in the past, those are certain things where it's just, you understand that customer, again, demand, that's where it kind of flows. What I will say too is that there are still things with the vehicles that, we may not want to accommodate, we may not have it tested yet, may not be ready for whatever reasons, and I think that's where the aftermarket excels. As GM, there are, we're building these vehicles as well, so there's other parts of the market we're focusing on, and so for aftermarket, that's their specialty, that's where they want to go, and they want to put these things on the vehicles. We love people being excited about our product. We're excited about our product. So, that's something where it's more of that camaraderie, that one team where, we want to make sure that everyone has their vehicles and uses it the way that, they can.
And then you have just a whole slew of aftermarket companies that want to sell things on your trucks above and beyond AEV. And you guys support having the cars here to be measured accurately, I guess just because who knows who's going to come up with whatever for these trucks.
Yeah, and for us, again, measuring, giving companies the ability to do that is just giving them information, and we don't see issues or problems with that. That's for us working as one team. And as you get into aftermarket parts, that's where we partner with AEV. That's easy to talk about on these vehicles. As far as you get into other companies, it varies by by company.
Well, Nicole, thank you so much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, so I got a chance to speak with Ben, and I got a chance to speak with Nicole. Now I just want to take one more look at this Canyon AT4X up on a lift here. I drove this truck, and I also drove an AT4 because this is a brand new third generation GMC Canyon. And for the AT4X, we did drive this AEV equipped Edition 1, and it's got tons of capability. These Multimatic DSSV shocks that are located on the rear and in the front are very, very capable shock absorbers. You have a 3-inch lift compared to the second generation Canyon. You have these 33-inch mud terrain tires. You have this big brush guard in front with a light bar attached to that. You have this winch. You have skid plates. You have front attachment points. You have guards along the rockers. What you have, generally speaking, is tons and tons of off-roading capability built into this truck from the manufacturer. So what would you do if you're an aftermarket company? What would you buy if you're a customer of one of these and want to make it more capable or customize it somehow? It's a real interesting and honest question, because I have a hard time seeing what makes this more capable while still being a truck you can use every day. Maybe you don't want to use it every day. or maybe there's something more specific you want to do with it. And that is what leads you to do aftermarket parts. But, you know, from the factory, this can do a whole heck of a lot. And aftermarket parts aren't always that cheap either. But regardless, it's super interesting to be able to see how these things are given to companies like SEMA Garage to offer these incredibly precise measurements to give to the manufacturers to modify their already highly capable trucks, and just to see what different companies can do with them. So I find that really interesting, and I hope you do too. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you for watching.